This is full self-driving 12.3. Finally, it took forever to get here, but I did finally get it. And this video is just going to cover the best of full self-driving 12.3. As you can see here, it's driving inside a parking lot, something it's never been able to do. It's amazing how well it navigates inside a parking lot, including the Trader Joe's parking lot, which is a disaster. Right here, we're exiting a parking lot in Monterey, going to Pacific Grove, specifically to get a bagel at Bagel Kitchen. This is amazing because it goes from Monterey to Pacific Grove. And normally on version 11, I would always have to stop FSD to go into the parking lot. I don't have to do that anymore. It just goes into the parking lot, which is amazing. As you can see here, it's a little slow, but not ridiculous. And it just goes inside the parking lot and it finds its parking space. It's amazing. It's never been able to do this before until now. And this is really progress because looking back, version 11 kind of sucked. The progress that we had with each version wasn't really as extreme as this. This just feels supernatural. Not supernatural in that sense, but it feels really natural. That's what I'm trying to say. I was parked in that parking space. I enabled FSD and it just started moving. And it wasn't jerky like it used to be before. It really couldn't navigate parking lots before. It tried, but it was super jerky. It really wasn't a viable option. Here it makes space for this ugly BMW and it never feels jerky or hesitant. It just feels really natural. If you can describe FSD version 12 one way, it's natural. It feels really nice. As we approach the roundabout here, before I felt like I got too close to the curb. It doesn't do that anymore, and it's not as hesitant as it was before. It just, again, feels super nice. At this point, we're in Carmel by the Sea. It's pouring rain, and FSD manages to navigate this environment just fine. We're headed to Chez Noir, which is an amazing restaurant in Carmel. If you're ever in the area, you have to make a reservation. It recently won a Michelin star, very well earned and deserved. The best part about this drive was that when I arrived to Chez, it managed to find a parking spot on the side of the street. And it parked. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I know they've talked about it before. They said that this was going to drop people off at the side of the curb, but to actually see it is amazing. And we're going to get to that point here. As you can see, it's finding its parking space. And then it just parks. And it wasn't even that close to the edge, which was great because that's something I was worried about. I thought this is going to hit the curb. It didn't. And then I started a new drive, hit FSD, and it just started going. It's amazing. Right here, we're about to turn left to go into a Chase branch, and it just did it flawlessly. Not only did it enter the branch flawlessly, but on the way out, it just managed to do it super well. And here we are leaving the branch. There wasn't a ton of traffic at the time, but there were some cars. It was very careful. It was very careful, but it wasn't hesitant. Because when it's hesitant, it's kind of jerky, and it wasn't like that this time. So here we're turning left to get on Highway 1. And to get on Highway 1, there's an intersection, so there's a traffic light. And it's very clearly marked that you're not allowed to turn right on a red. And the light was red, and the car didn't go. I don't know if it actually understood that sign and behaved accordingly, or if it was just an accident. But it worked. I do want to go back and test it a couple more times, but there's been evidence showing that the car knows how to read. It knows when you're allowed to do a U-turn, and it will do a U-turn. It's amazing. This is progress. For a very long time, I feel like version 11 was... I mean, they probably weren't really working on it because they were working on this. This is also a route I've done a couple times before. I do it pretty often during the week, but it's been jerky at some points, especially as we head towards the intersection. And it wasn't jerky at all. At one point during version 11, it tried to run a red light. I haven't seen version 12 try and run a red light, but this was pretty solid. Definitely the most progress we've seen in a long time. This is how it handles construction, and the reality is that it handles it really well. It's not perfect, not in the sense that it's a safety thing, it's just kind of annoying. As we approach a light, the Lexus is turning left, and the car just kind of stood there for a little while. I had to give it acceleration, but it wasn't bad. But that was really among the few things that were wrong with FSD on this weekend. I actually have a video that focuses on all the bad things it does. And the reality is that there's like 3 instances, and the video is like a minute and a half long, of me talking about things it does wrong. But it's much better. This is really... version 12 is where FSD is going. I unfortunately do not have a video of how version 11 handled this stop sign, but it was a disaster. It took forever, and it was super jerky, and version 12 is just, it just knows what to do. Again, this is really where FSD is going. It's progress, the most progress we've seen in a while, and I can't wait to see what it looks like at the end of the year.